stragglers.
Okay, we are live, so you can begin any moment.
Thank you. Looking for Amy Lawyer. Don't know if she'll be joining us or not. And Dixie, do you know if Remy will be joining?
As far as I know, I'll send him a quick text.
Okay. I think he said he'd be here, but don't recall. Just trying to make sure we can have quorum. I think we're good. Let's do at least 4. Yeah, we have 4. Okay. Oh, there's Remy. Okay. Well, we have at least 5, so I'll go ahead and get us started. So before I do a proper call to order, I'll just remind everyone, we've provided a structural framework that has not previously existed. So there'll be some slight differences to how this meeting has been ran in the past. Nothing crazy, but just we'll do a proper roll call. We'll have to have motions for any voting or adjournment. And that's really the gist of it. But the big thing is, if you are one of the so-called official members of this committee, please keep at least your camera on at all times, and then during voting, if you could unmute, since we'll do a roll call vote for any voting, and we will have something to vote on today. So with that, I will go ahead and do a quick roll call. I'm just going to go in alphabetical order here. So Mr. Bellick.
Here.
Okay. Ms. Kaufman.
Here.
Okay. Ms. Lawyer. Don't think she's on here. Don't see her. Okay. If she joins later, then I'll mark her down then. But Mr. Matthews, I see you, but please. Yep. Okay. Ms. Poor.
Here.
Okay. And Mr. Strunk.
Here.
All right. Good to see you all. And just a reminder, those of you that aren't the official members, you're still welcome to participate in any discussion and such. But we want to provide a little more structure to this as we go forward, and kind of bring things in line with the goals of the council as well. So with that, we do have quorum. So I'll go ahead and declare that, and then I'm going to begin sharing my screen right now-ish, if I can find the button. I'm used to Teams. Apologies for the delay. Here we go. Do you see what I see?
Quite. Brent, I wanted to let you know Amy Lawyer has joined. I'm not sure if her camera's working.
Okay.
But she is on.
Okay. Well, just a reminder then for Ms. Lawyer, if you are an official member, which you are, we ask that your camera be on just to count for quorum. And then also, if we do any votes, your camera must be on for voting. Otherwise, we cannot count the vote. So hopefully you can get that working. If not, that's fine. We still have quorum. But anyway, moving on. So this is the agenda for today. Before I jump into things, let me ask if there are any objections to this agenda. At least the order, or if we need to add anything, we can do that in other business. So, okay, hearing and seeing none. We will jump right in. So the first thing I wanted to share with everyone was just a reminder. So we'll go to this next page here. Again, I already touched on this, but I just wanted to show everyone. This is an excerpt from the Post-Secondary Education Council on Post-Secondary Education's January meeting minutes. So this is just confirmation that you were confirmed by the chair of the council. I know you all received a nice letter as well, but just wanted to share that this actually happened behind the scenes as well. So okay. And then we'll jump right into the next item. So institution contracts. I'm not going to go over any actual contracts because they're all the same. You've all received them. But just a reminder, of the terms of all of them. They're all the exact same terms. So the contract period is spanning 2 fiscal years. So that's July 1 of 2026 to June 30, 2028. And the contract total is 450,000 across those 2 years. So 75,000 in each year. Um, 2 disbursements per fiscal year equal. You can see down here, 37,500 each. And then, of course, we have those annual programmatic and financial reports due in October 1 of each year. So if you have a contract that says different, that means that there is a typo. Please let us know. I know we still have several institutions that we're waiting to get those finalized on, and that's okay. I know that those can take time, but just a reminder, we can't approve any disbursements until those contracts are finalized. So please be bothering the people you need to bother. I know that a lot of you are on that. So that's all I'll say about that. Do I have any questions on this? Okay. We'll move on. Oh, hi, Miss Lawyer. I see you now. Move on to our institutional budget reviews. So just a reminder, the guidelines require that we review these, at least initial budgets, with the entire group. Of course, I say initial, but any revisions I also take to the group, just for clarity's sake and transparency. So I'm just going to go in alphabetical order here. We'll begin with BCTC's 2026-27 proposed budget. So I have not had a chance to review this myself yet, so we'll all look at this together. And I'll also invite Remy and Dixie that if you have any comments you want to make or anything like that, since this is your budget, please feel free. So I'm just going to scroll down here a little bit. Let's see where we are. Yeah, so just some notes on, okay, yeah, notes on items that they plan on purchasing. So it looks like a racehorse simulator, which again, that's 100% capital equipment. That's very acceptable. Same with the gym and simulators, fitness gym and simulators. We may have to discuss this a bit. So it looks like there's a plan to replace some saddles. This cost here is this the total cost, Remy? This 2,100?
It's an estimated cost,
Okay.
and we can also work that out into our budget, our regular budget,
Okay.
if it's not applicable.
Yeah, at first glance, I don't think it would be just based on, there has to be there's a $5,000
That's right.
floor
Yeah.
for capital equipment. I mean, there are some ways to meet that, if it's a part of a larger project or something like that. And I'm happy to discuss this with you
Sure.
one-on-one as well. But
The main thing is the simulator and retrofitting of the room and the equipment.
yeah. And just a quick note, since we discussed the $5,000 floor there, I'll also note things like this at the bottom here, this gooseneck hitch install. I mean, that would be considered a part of the overall truck and trailer project, right? So you can definitely have expenses that are under $5,000 as long as it is a part of a larger project.
Gotcha.
But yeah, so we can discuss that more if we need to. But so far, I think that is the only thing I see that's an issue here. So yeah, everything else looks good. And again, just another reminder, these budgets don't have to be voted on. It's just required that we review them together so that we're all kept abreast of what everyone's doing. So with that, I will move on. We will go to the next budget, which is Morehead State University. I did look at this one earlier. I've looked at all the other ones, so that's good. I really like, by the way, Morehead. I'll just state I really like the detailed kind of description you provide for your budgets. I've always enjoyed that. It kind of helps break down what the actual line items are. So again,
Thanks.
I'm not a horse person, so it's very useful for us. And I'll ask questions if I need to, but that often can curb those. So yeah, looks like for FY27, there's plans to purchase all of these items: a hay roller, there's a barn ventilation and lighting project, some shed purchases, and then some equipment upgrading as well. And then for FY28, just more shed purchases, I think, and a renovation for a barn. I think all of that looks fine. I don't see any issues here. Does anyone else see any issues? Any questions? Comments? Concerns? Okay. I went over this really quickly, so we can always come back to something at a later time if anyone would like to. And I'm also, I can send, well, I will send out all of these materials to everyone after the meeting, just so you have them. And we'll move on to the next budget, which is Murray State. It has been a little bit since I've looked at this one, so bear with me here. Scroll down some more. Yeah, so this is just where the funds are coming from. We all know what that looks like. All right, so equipment for classes and teams, 8,000, closing out a project, so that'll come from carry forward. That's okay. Truck purchase, that's acceptable. It's definitely equipment and well above 5,000. Yeah, I think all of this looks good. No comments here from me. Any comments from the group? Okay. We will move on to University of Kentucky. Again, love the detailed descriptions. Yeah, I've looked at this one as well, and everything looks fine. I am really interested with the microscopes with Wi-Fi cameras. I don't know quite how that works or what that is. So I would ask James, can you give me any more info on that?
Well, those go into our equine lab that we have out at the farm. And it allows us to do really good histology work and all and explain it to people as they go along. So it works out really well. And so you can have multiple students looking at, well, as the instructor is using a pointer and showing out all the features. So much better than going down the line with a series of them and trying
Yeah.
to find the same thing, structure in all 6 of them or whatever.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you. That is very neat. Yeah, we've come a long way, I guess. I did not know that was even a possibility. So that's really cool. Thank you. But yeah, all looks good here. I don't think I had really any problems with any of the budgets that I've looked at. So any questions here? Okay, and we'll move on to the final one here. So Western Kentucky University. Scroll on down to the actual budget itself. Fiber internet installation. That's definitely an upgrade and renovation project. Lighting as well, same. And then truck completion, of course, as well. That's all carry forward projects. Just kind of waiting to close out those. And then, yeah, the rest here, again, all looks fine. We're basically upgrading some things, buying some equipment. All of that looks acceptable to me. So, any questions on Western Kentucky? Okay. Well, I want to thank you all for getting those in on rather short notice. I know that we had some slight delay on getting estimates on what the receipts would look like. So it was a quick turnaround that I asked of all of you, and you all delivered. So I just want to acknowledge that and thank you for that. So next, we're going to move on to, we do have, this is our voting item. It's for an additional funding proposal from U of L. So I'll explain kind of why it's an additional funding proposal. As you all know, and if you don't, you're about to learn. University of Louisville is a member to this group, but they do typically decline what we call the standard disbursements. And I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, please, but I believe it's because you don't have a farm, which makes quite a bit of sense as to why you would decline those funds if you don't have much use for them. But in this case, they did want to make a request for a specific project, but it's well and under what would be needed from a normal disbursement. And so the way the guidelines are written, it would be considered an additional funding proposal. So they decline the regular 75,000 per year, but have put in a request for an additional funding proposal. So I'll scroll down and we can look at that very briefly. And Amy, if you want to jump in, feel free. But basically, they're converting a storage room into a student lab and work center. So this would be, you know, a renovation project. And so since it's a renovation project, nothing needs to be $5,000 or more. But of course, the total project, as you can see, is 15,000. So all of this looks perfectly reasonable to me. But it is up to all of you. We'll do. I'll ask for a motion in a moment. But Amy, do you have anything you'd like to add?
No, I appreciate you adding this on, and like you said, you know, we've waived our fee for a few years now. We had this project come up that's, you know, an extra thing that we were trying to find funding for, and since it fits the criteria, we were hoping that it would be all right, since we're not asking for the whole 75 to just add on 15. So
Yeah. Well, and for those that aren't aware, when we do our projections of receipts, and I'm sure Leslie might talk about this in a moment, we do factor in as if UofL does accept the full amount. So that does provide a little extra cushion, and especially for situations like this where we have an additional funding proposal. So so with that, I will ask, do I have a motion? Do I have a motion for this? And I'll need a
Motion to
second
approve.
as well.
Motion approved, Strunk.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. I will do a roll call vote. Again, I'm just going to go in alphabetical order here. And please turn on your camera if you are a full committee member. So we'll start with Mr. Bellick.
I agree.
Okay. Ms. Kaufman.
I agree.
Okay. Ms. Lawyer. Well, actually, you might have to abstain on this since it's yours. I'm not actually sure. Heather, are you aware if we have to have an abstention here?
Brett, this is Cassie. Just in general, it's probably best practice when it is your specific
Yeah.
institution to recuse from the vote.
Okay. Yeah.
I'll abstain.
Okay. Mr. Matthews.
Yes.
Okay. Ms. Poor.
Approve.
Okay. And Mr. Strunk. You've already
Yep.
motioned, but yeah. Okay. So pass with flying colors, as we like to say. So we will we'll work with the University of Louisville on a contract for that. I've already notified our admin folks that'll be coming down the pipeline. So we'll get started on that. And Amy, you can hear from us. You can expect to hear from us pretty shortly. With that, Leslie, if you're ready, I will hand it over to you. If she's here. There she is.
There I am. Well, yeah. Sorry, technology is beyond me.
All good.
I need to share my screen real
Mhm.
quick.
I should probably state what you're here for. Equine Trust Program
Yeah.
budget, just a cash report.
Yes, the cash report. So first, I'm going to start out where we ended up in 2026. So we started 2026 with a pretty good balance forward, but that was mainly because BCTC had not claimed their FY25 allotment until FY26. So they were paid double in 26, which is why you see the expenses there, because they received their 25 allotment and their 26 allotment during that fiscal year. Receipts at the end of the year came in at around $451,000. That was a little bit more than projected, but we're always conservative in our projections. And as you can see, if on the past years, we have been trending down from 2022, but that is an increase from 2025. So I was pleased to see that. And we had $840,000 in expenses, which left us with an end balance of $81,901. So going into 2027, we're starting with that balance. We are anticipating around $430,000 in receipts. Once again, we are conservative in those estimates because we want to be careful to not spend too much more money than what we have. we can't spend any more money than what we have, but we do at least have that balance forward to work with. We do factor U of L into the expenses. So if everyone claims their portion of the money that was voted on to be split up as a $75,000 portion, we'll see that come in around $450,000. We think we will end FY27 with around $61,000. That is our projection. And then looking past FY27 into FY28, you can see that we are on task to have a carry forward balance in 28, which is good because that would mean that $75,000 we put in the second year of the contract would not need to be reduced. So I know I flew through that. Do you have any questions? And I will send this spreadsheet to Brent. We have it going back from FY20 or FY 2017 forward. So if anyone is ever interested in the history of this fund, all of those tabs will be in this spreadsheet. And I'll send this to Brent so you have a copy of the final 2026 numbers.
If I may, I'm just sort of curious why the big increase in fiscal year 25.
Why the receipts did not increase?
No, the expense.
Why the expense did
And
not.
25 and 26, they're quite a bit higher than before. So
Yeah,
previously, I was just curious.
BCTC was not a member prior
Okay.
to, and then language put into the statute that had BCTC begin participating. And Remy, when did that happen? That was in 25, right?
Yes, I believe so.
2025.
Yeah, it was July 1, 2025.
Yeah. So in 2024, if you want to look at the individual payouts, and I believe it's sharing on my screen, you can see each of the institutions. U of L abstained that year. So in prior years, U of L had taken their portion, but in 2024, U of L did not take their portion. The others did. BCTC was not included. So that is the breakdown. Those portions used to be $120,000 per institution. And then in 2025, U of L did not, they waived their contract, but then BCTC became a player. So then that's when you start seeing those amounts, the expenses increase. BCTC did not send their invoice in 2025. It looks like neither did Moorhead. So those were paid out in 26, which is why 26's expenses look like they're so much. It's because that also included a 2025 portion.
Yeah, in other words, it was just paid from carry forward.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And if you all ever have questions anytime about the budget, do not hesitate to reach out to us and we will respond.
Okay. All right. Well, with that, Shay, I believe you have a presentation for us if you're ready.
I do. Let me get this thing moving.
And thank you, Leslie.
Okay. So I think it's going to be on that screen when I do my thing. What happens when you have multiple monitors? All right. So can you see that?
We cannot.
Interesting.
I think you'll need to click share on Zoom.
Oh, good call.
Yeah.
I remember how to do technology now. Try that again. There. Now we can see it.
There we go.
Okay, because there's my little slide. All right. So this is a review of kind of how we spent our funds in the previous 2-year period. And so I kind of thought up some little cutesy things. You know, who wants to share a toothbrush? So one of the projects that we did was we previously had tack and equipment that was kind of haphazard. So we shared saddle pads and grooming tools between horses. Students would go into the tack room and have to root around and find gear and equipment to do all the things. And we would try to organize it, and then it would end up not being organized. The cleaning of all that equipment takes a lot of time, and so it wasn't done frequently enough. And so what we ran into were occasional, basically eruptions of skin conditions in our horses or tack that didn't fit well and what have you. So we decided to put a project together in order to allow us to get a collection of tack and equipment for each horse. So now we are at a point where each horse has an assigned saddle bridle, saddle pads, and grooming equipment. And we repurposed some bags from a previous event to hold the grooming tools. So those go with each horse's equipment. And since then, well, we accomplished most of that by January of this year. This spring, we had a lot fewer issues with any skin conditions. The horses were tacked up and ready to go a lot more quickly because the students knew where the stuff was. And the tack rooms are a lot better organized. And so, as you can see here from some of the pictures, we've got the numbers above the bridles and on the saddles, so they know what saddle is theirs, what bridle is theirs. The grooming bags have a little tag on them that also have the horse's number on it. And so they hang things in a specific spot and replace things in a specific spot. And that's made it a lot easier for all of that stuff to happen. And again, has made it safer and healthier for our horses. Another project that we had was relative to our trailers. And so previously we only had 2-horse trailers to move the horses around. And that was fine when we were just hauling Racer 1 to a football game. But when the IHSA team took 6 horses to a competition, that was a little problematic. So we had to borrow the livestock trailer to use. Unfortunately, we sometimes ran into schedule conflicts where the trailer would be in Texas, and that makes it a little difficult for us to use. Or we would get the trailer when they came back from a cattle show, and it would be full of cattle manure and feces and things that had to be cleaned out before we could actually use it. Also, there was no identification on that trailer, and the rodeo trailer had an old wrap, but it was faded, and it was older logos and such, and so it wasn't current. So what we did was we bought a 6-horse trailer that was primarily for use with the IHSA team. We got a carport cover for our Racer 1 trailer, which we also wrapped, and now we can protect that wrap a little bit better. And then we updated the wrap on the rodeo trailer to make it more current. And so we can put that out when we have events and when they haul animals. And so this is the new 6-horse trailer on top that we got for the IHSA team with very evident logos and such, so everybody knows who we are. The rodeo trailer was updated again with more current vinyl and logos and looks pretty nice for being as old a trailer as it is. And then the Racer 1 trailer, it was actually donated by one of our other sponsors, the Murray Bank, but Equine Trust wrapped that trailer for us, and then we got the carport cover for it. And the other thing that we really like is on the back of that trailer is a list of all the jockeys that we've had. And I will put a plug in for the fact that this is the 50th anniversary of this tradition, Racer 1, and we're really looking forward to running around the football field this fall. The last thing that we did is we got some hay equipment. So as many programs have probably done, we've been purchasing our hay through a local vendor, but hay prices were getting a little up there, and it really was well over half of our budget. It was almost 60% of our budget last year. At the time, we didn't have the equipment, and we really didn't have the ground for doing our own hay production. So we were kind of stuck in that position. But we have a farm that's in a neighboring county. We are able to use some of that ground now to produce some hay. We have a hired staff member that's overseeing that farm and was familiar with hay production. So we purchased the equipment and we started using that this year. And so we brought in our first round of hay earlier this summer. And right now it's looking really good. So we're very hopeful that it's going to save us some money because it does cost us less to do it ourselves than it did for us to purchase it. And if you haven't seen hay equipment, it's not really exciting. The mower is covered here, but this is actually a mower. And this is called a tedder. So when you mow, if you've ever mowed grass, you know sometimes it ends up in clumps. So the tedder goes around after you've mowed and spreads it out so that the hay can dry properly. Once it's dried, you go in with the device on the back of this one called a rake, and it puts it in windrows so that when you then come in with the baler, it can bale it up and throw it out in bales. We have an accumulator that can go around and pick up those bales and put them in a local space. And then we now have a grabber that can go down and grab those bales and put them on a truck or a trailer so that we can now bring that down here. And I don't know if this will work, but just in case you haven't seen hay production, this is the baler that's working, and you can see the windrows off on the left-hand side. And so they'll drive down, the baler picks it all up, packages it, puts string around it, and then kicks it out. Soon, down it goes. And then it just continues to make more bales. And so after those bales are finished, the accumulator will come up behind that, pick those up. Again, the grabber can take them, put them on a trailer, and haul them down to Murray, where we will use them with our horses here. And so we really do appreciate CPE putting, some faith and support into our program. And it's really definitely helping us with our teams and our students and care for our horses. And I'm happy to answer any questions if anybody has any. Where's my stop share? There it is.
I do have a comment. You have reminded me of my younger days on my grandfather's farm baling hay.
There you go.
But any other questions for Shay? Okay, well, that was wonderful. Thank you. And I'll also add that, Remy, that was a really good example of ways to find a way to purchase tack using these funds. They were able to turn it into an entire project, and of course it was uh, a way to improve the health of their horses as well. So, of course, that I don't know. There may be a size discrepancy there, right? Maybe Murray has more tack than BCTC. I'm not sure. So that may be a challenge. But again, I'm more than willing to work with you and Dixie on that one-on-one. See what we can do. That is the only presentation we have today, and it was the only one that was volunteered, which is totally fine. So I know that this was a trial run, right? So we had talked in the past about maybe doing 2 or 3 every meeting, but I think perhaps it might be best to kind of do it as an ad hoc thing, right? So I think for the next January meeting, I'll absolutely offer it, and if no one wants to do it, no one has to do it. But I liked it, so it was very informative, and for someone that grew up surrounded by farms but is not on one now, I very much enjoyed the pictures as well. So thank you very much. I'm not sure if anyone's watched Clarkson's Farm, but gave me those vibes. So with that, we'll move into other business. I do have just one thing. It's not actual business, but just a recognition of Remy. You are retiring. So I just wanted to say congratulations on that. He will be replaced by Dixie starting in October. So just from all of us here, congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any other business from the group? Okay, this was a pretty short one, guys. We didn't have any guideline changes for once. I think that probably helped quite a bit. But it is good to see all of your faces. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Okay, and a second.
Second.
Okay, and Heather, do I need to vote? Do we need to have a vote to adjourn, or?
Yes.
Okay, so we will have to do a roll call, but we'll do this quickly.
You do.
Mr. Bellick,
Aye.
Okay.
Ms. Kaufman,
Aye.
Ms. Lawyer,
Yes.
Mr. Matthews,
Yep.
Ms. Poor,
Yes.
and Mr. Strunk.
Yep.
All right. Well, with that, we are adjourned. Again, great to see all of you. Can't wait until January.